Oh my god. I just ate, so apparently my voice is not ready for stream. But hi, I hope you're all doing well. Um, long time no seeing my model. It's been a while. Um, it looks like if I close down everything except what's strictly needed, um, I can at least play Umineko with my model. Yay! I'm going to test out this time without going for the full super quality face tracking and stuff like that, so I might look a little bit janky, but I'll be here! And I'll be moving and talking. Thankfully Umineko is... I mean, I guess this version is newer, but it's a visual novel. It's not gonna... It's hopefully not going to kill my CPU like other things do. So yeah. Let's get going. Let's see if I can... Alright. Oh well. I'm going to look a little bit janky, but it's better than nothing. Better than nothing. Okay. Let's go. Let's go. Refresh it. Just to make sure that it's alive. Yep. Yeah, it's been a while. So last time, when we played Umineko... Oh, that looks loud. Is that very loud? Am I quiet? Maybe I'll bring them down a little bit. Maybe I'll bring them down a little bit. I feel like the seagulls are extremely loud, but maybe it just looks that way. Yeah. Well, let's get going, and then if anyone turns up in chat, you can let me know if the audio is bad. Last time we met the cast and made it to Rokkenjima, the island this game will take place on, mostly. And we met the main character Butler, who is returning to the family home and the family reunion for the first time in many, many years, since he was a little boy. And he recognizes a lot of stuff, but a lot of stuff is new, and a lot of the relationships with his family members are sort of odd, or like, well, not odd, but it's not the same as it used to be, because they're older, but also some of it still feels familiar. I'm just like, how much do I remember from what we played last time, and how much is going to be spoiler if I accidentally see. But anyway, we've just Maria also is one of his little cousins. She's quite young, and she found a rose in the rose garden that she's gonna take care of. And now they've made it to the guest house, which is where we're going to be starting today. It sounds like we didn't do anything last stream, but we streamed for several. I feel like we streamed for several hours. Just getting to Rokkenjima is a long read, especially when you read it out loud. I remember the rose garden, but I don't remember this guest house at all. Was it built recently? Ryan, visitors retreat, was written on a gatepost-like thing, but since everyone called it the guest house, I followed their lead. it does look like the music is a bit loud. I'm gonna pull you down a little bit. Let me know if it's too quiet after this, because I want you to hear it, but I want people to hear the narration too. The brand new Western-style guest house, which stood overlooking the roses, had a magnificent sign carefully done in harmony with the garden. Correct. It was built the year before last. Ever since then, they've had a sleep over here.
This place is more fun than that junky old mansion you knew. I wish my room was over here. I want a room here too! I want one!
I guess you could say my own house was upper class, but to me, it felt completely ordinary compared to the head family. The display of wealth was shocking, as was the fact that they'd built this kind of awesome guest house for guests who came over only a few times a year. Eva-sama, Hideyoshi-sama, please, do make use of this room. Rudolph-sama, Kyrie-sama, please take this room here. I really do love how beautiful and elegant this place is. Western-style architecture truly is wonderful. I can handle Western design for a few days, but any longer than that, you need to do good old Japanese look. Japanese people just relax best on tatami mats. They've been fighting over whether to make our new house Japanese style or Western style. Mom still holds a grudge about that, having the construction started with a Japanese layout, and they bicker all the time about it.
I'm really jealous, George-san. Your parents get along well, don't they? Mine are so frosty. Then again, they're always in sync when it comes to my grades.
All the rooms seemed to be for two people. I was grateful, since I wasn't going to be forced to share the same room with the old bastard, under the pretext that we were family. And anyway, I figured those two wouldn't be able to enjoy themselves with someone like me around.
What's with that creepy smile? You're thinking about something dirty, aren't you? Something dirty? Of course not! Please enjoy your stay! Ow, 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 ow. That hurts, you old bastard!
Once again, Dad pulled my ears from behind. Cut the crap. I'm getting a stomachache and I'm not in the mood for this. You're the guest of honor this time around, so play as nice as possible with Dad and Aniki and the rest. At the very least, be careful of what you say in front of Dad, got it? Because wisecracks don't go too well with him. Jessica-chan, what's the head's mood been like lately?
Same as last year, I guess. Considering they say he's got 3 months left to live, he's as lively, grumpy, and irritable as ever. Meaning, this year he's in his usual bad mood. And as usual, the only one who's able to look after him is Genji-san. It seems the master will open his heart to no one else. Lately, us small people have not even been granted an audience with him. He shuts himself up in his study again. Oh, he's shut himself up in his study again, probably doing nothing but that weird black magic of his. What he does for his hobby is his own damn business, but when he starts stinking up the house, it really gets on my nerves. I wish he'd never come out of that study again. You shouldn't talk like that about the elderly. We're all indebted to him since he rebuilt the Ushirimiya family. We should be more grateful. Well, sorry. After being rebuked by George Aniki, Jessica had no choice but to take back her thoughtless remark. The Ushirimiya family was wealthy beyond belief, but of course that meant all its members were a bit strange, and completely out of touch with the world at large. And at the top of the chain, the family head, our grandfather, seemed especially strange and terrifying, even for our family. Dad said he was getting a stomachache earlier, and I imagine that reflected the honest feelings of all the adults here today. No doubt they were jealous of us grandchildren, who could just play around and laugh without a care. From the stories Dad told me, the family head was a violent man who ruled with his fists, beating his children, even his daughters, mercilessly with a wooden sword. If he was so strict and uptight about that, why couldn't he have been a little more conservative with his kids' names? Because of that, even his grandkids had to suffer. As a reminder for anyone who is just hopping in, sister? Yeah. Their names, well, not him, because he's not one of Ginzo's sons, or children, but Ushimi, Eva, Rudolf, and Rosa all have names that are, as you can see, they've written them out with hiragana to help pronounce them, because they're like Western names written with kanji in a way that doesn't really make sense. But he's gone and done it, the madman. So yeah, these are not common ways to write Eva, Rudolf, or Rosa at all. So yeah, and Butler has suffered the same fate. This is like fighter, if I recall correctly, it sort of translates to, but it's not supposed to be pronounced Batola, usually, and yes. Anyway, I can't say I have any trouble believing those terrifying stories about him. I don't remember meeting him very often, but I think I recall him looking extremely grumpy all the time, always making people cower with that sharp gaze of his. I remember that the room's atmosphere got so tense whenever he was around, you couldn't even breathe. What my dad said about me being the guest of honor now carries a little more oomph for me. 6 years ago I was in elementary school, but I'm a high schooler now. If I act up, things could get serious. Ooh, scary. He does look frightening, but he's not so terrifying that you need to tense up like that. Nothing of what he says is truly unreasonable. Well, he may be clumsy at talking, but he's a very logical person. But George Nichan, you've been the family darling since like forever because of your awesome grades, right? Grandfather treats us completely different. I've even gotten slapped with a wooden sword. On my ass! My ass! On my maidenly innocent ass! Well, you're the heiress of the head family, Jessica-chan. Grandfather's giving you special attention. You've got to realize that his strictness reflects his high hopes for you. Oh, come on. Seriously, I could just turn the succession over to you, George Nisan. It's a bit of a heavy burden for me to carry. Also, like, special attention doesn't mean you have to hit someone. I think I already said it before, but Jessica's the girl heir to the family. To the head family. The girl heir? Why not just the heir? Hang on. I just want to see. Huh. I don't know enough kanji to be able to determine if they really said something like girl heir there. We're only cousins in branch families, so she probably feels a totally different sort of pressure than we do.
Jessica Oniya-chan, is that heavy? I help hold it. Will it get lighter? Thanks. It's okay. I'm not gonna push it on you, Maria. I'm gonna bear this cross until my grave. Don't worry. She was grateful for Maria's innocent concern, but Jessica's face still seemed to contain some of the uneasiness she felt towards the future. Maybe we were in the same boat. Any high schooler with exams approaching would have trouble hiding their anxiety for the future. Maria, come here. You and I will be in this room. Butler-kun, I heard you're gonna be with me in this room here. Oh? Oh, now there's a surprise. It's bigger than our parents' rooms. Damn! Well, I figured we cousins would all want to hang out together, so I told them to get a bigger room ready. here more too. I'd rather be here than with Mama. Oh, you like it better here too, Maria? Okay, this room is George's and mine, but we'll give you a special permission to come in. Better keep it a secret from your mom, okay? It's a secret.
Aunt Rosa was right behind us, but Maria still answered, striking the air with her fist clenched tight. After setting down their luggage in their rooms, our parents had gathered again in the corridor. Hey, what are you brats planning to do? Are you cousins just gonna stay here and chat? It seemed they were heading to the mansion to announce their arrival. Normally, they would make us follow them and greet everyone together, but if that had been the case, Dad would have just told us to come, and that'd be the end of it. He's saying it's okay if we don't come, so what will we do? Well, it's gonna be lunchtime before long anyway. Better let the kids unwind here. Besides, if worst comes to worst, this might be their last chance to play outdoors.
How the tail? Maria, you house sit for Mama, okay? Behave yourself and wait here.
Since Maria was being told to house sit here, we certainly couldn't leave her on our own. George and Nikki noticed this immediately and gave a clear reply for all of us cousins. Well then, we'll accept your offer and house sit. We've got lots of stories to tell each other after being away for a year. That sounds wonderful. And Butler could have 6 years worth of stories to tell, doesn't he?
Yeah. I'll take care of the house like a good boy. Kumasawa-san, I'm gonna stay here too. We'll break rank and leave the rest of the adults, hehe.
Perhaps that would be best. We'll report it to Madam. Then allow me to guide you all to the mansion. This way, please. The other children are one thing, but George is getting to be an adult. Wouldn't it be better if he came with us? If we make him come, then poor George will be the only one out of place. Interacting with his cousins is also important. Okay, see y'all later! The adults left one after the other. They left in the same formation as our trip from the harbor, with Goda-san leading and Kumasawa-san taking up the rear. As we gathered in the room assigned to us cousins, George and Nikki asked us to excuse him for a second. We rushed over to Kumasawa-san, who was following behind the disappearing adults. He seemed to ask her something. He soon finished his business and came back.
What's up, Aniki?
Nothing. I just wanted to ask her something.
Tell me too! Tell me too! What could George-san be asking Kumasawa-san and not me, I wonder? I don't have a clue.
No, it's a misunderstanding. Not that I know what you're misunderstanding. Aniki was getting pretty tongue-tied. It was almost as though he felt guilty about something, and Jessica knew exactly what he was worried about. At any rate, it's no fun if Jessica gets to know about it and not me.
Hey Maria, it looks like we're the only two out of the loop, right? Don't you want to know what they're talking about? We want to know too! We want to know too!
I fooled around while oohing together with Maria. No, I'm telling you, it's no big deal.
Liar! I'm surprised you'd tell such a terrible lie, Aniki. Confess! Maria, you tickle his right side and I'll tickle his left. I've got his right side, Butler got his left.
Wait a second. Wait, you two. Stop. Maria and I played around, chasing George and Nikki as he tried to escape, rolling on the bed. I realized high schoolers aren't supposed to bounce around like kittens, but I still miss this kind of fun. A warm, cozy kind of fun.
George-san will be asking Kumasawa-san. Well, I've got a good guess. It's been a year since the last time he visited the head family. Who knows what servants might have come and gone during that time? Either way, it looks like he'd like to go and say hi. Say hi. I want to say hi too. What the hell? That's nothing to feel guilty about, Aniki. I'm not buying it. Maria, don't be fooled. Aniki's still hiding something. More torture! Warrior!
Stop it, seriously. Maria-chan, you stop. You too, stop already.
She's probably busy cleaning or getting lunch ready. Don't worry, she'll drop by to say hi sooner or later. I'll bet you'd rather have been welcomed in by Shannon instead of that nosy Goda. Shannon? Shannon. Ah, yeah, I remember a girl with that name. Is she still a servant? How's she doing?
By the way, Natsuhine-san, how's your headache been lately? It seemed pretty serious before.
I have been much better lately. Thank you for your concern. Oh, right. Here. A present for you, Natsuhine-san. Thank you very much. I'm always receiving gifts from you. Is this black tea? It's herb tea with peppermint and lemon balm. It's a blend from a well-known store, and it's supposed to be good for headaches. I thought it might help you too.
Also, as always, a conscientious woman. I don't think I've ever really said that word out loud. Conscientious woman. Probably because she was the youngest of four, and much younger than the other three. She managed to grow up without gaining the venomous nature of her siblings. Her kind words got Natsuhi to soften her expression for just a moment, but it wasn't enough to melt her stony gaze, hardened as it was by long years of mental stress. Come to think of it, you're always complaining about those headaches. Pull yourself together. Jessica-chan has her exams this year, right? That's going to be a turning point in her life. Will she really be able to rely on you as a mother if you're like that? Besides, Natsuhine-san, you're 3 years younger than me. You should get your act together. I apologize. I've had a tendency for headaches all my life. Even under normal circumstances, Eva sometimes failed to choose her words carefully, but her comments aimed at Natsuhi contained shards of obvious malice, though she hid it with a smile. Of course, that fact didn't escape Natsuhi. She frantically contained her urge to grimace and pretended to ignore Eva. Our butler-kun will have his exams this year too. Rudolph-san, shouldn't you be a little concerned as well? For the sake of your own son, you'd better get serious to the point of having headaches like Natsuhine-san. If I say anything, he automatically rebels. So what should I say? Should I say the opposite? That it's okay for him to mess around? That's probably the only way I could get him to listen to me. Hideyoshi-san, George did really well on his exams, right? Please, you've gotta teach me the trick to handling children. Well, it's probably because I got him to understand why he should study. Study isn't worth anything on its own. That's right, the real point of studying is to practice researching stuff on your own whenever you bump into something you don't know. If you can't do that, you can't be useful to society. I'm not talking about math or writing. You gotta learn how to learn.
That's splendid. I wish our Jessica could understand that as well. If she is to be the heiress of the Ushirmia family, then at this rate, you really have to force her into becoming the successor? After all, a woman has to find a woman's happiness. Parents shouldn't force such things on their children, don't you think?
Hold your horses, Eva. Each family has its own way of raising their kids. You shouldn't be pushy.
I'm sorry. Natsuhine-san, don't take it the wrong way.
Though the light shining in through the window was quite warm despite the cloudy weather, there was a dark mood about the room, which was probably causing headaches for more than just Natsuhi. As if to sweep away that mood, Kyrie brightly made a suggestion to all present. And before that, I'll just need a little bit of... Sorry, just had to blow my nose. Still, this black tea has a really lovely aroma. Let's drink it right away. In Japan, surely you couldn't find something like Leopold's black tea anywhere but Ginza, right? Well, I see you know a lot about it, Kirie-san. I guess it was worth going to the trouble of buying it. Kirie and Rosa stood up from their seats and made as if to prepare the black tea, but Natsuhi forestalled them. I thank you both, but we can try that later. One of our people will soon be coming to bring some tea, so please relax.
Leave it for later, you two. Let's enjoy our welcome drink.
Rudolph gave a subtle signal with his eyes for them to sit down again.
What did he do? Blink? Wink?
Kitty and Rosa understood instantly and immediately returned to their seats. The initial greeting of the guests was complete. It was time for them to be served some tea. It was embarrassing for the host that the tea was late, especially now that the guests were talking about making tea themselves. Natsuhi bit her lower lip, frustrated by the ineptitude of the servants who were late bringing in the tea. Seeing her face, Eva immediately started to giggle. Of course, Shannon had no way of knowing what was taking place in the parlor. She came pushing a serving cart piled with teacups. For no apparent reason, Natsuhi gave her a pained look, and Shannon couldn't help but flinch without knowing what she had done wrong. Excuse me, your tea is ready.
Oh, Shannon-chan, it has been a while. You keep getting prettier every time I see you.
Oh, thanks. Save the chatting for after you set the table. The tea will get cold. I apologize, madam. She apologized like a small frightened animal, bumped against the serving cart and made a jarring racket as she dropped several teaspoons. Her clumsiness made Natsuhi's expression turn even darker, which made Shannon quail even more. Come on, Natsuhi-ne-san. There's nothing wrong with her exchanging a few words in greeting. The tea must be plenty cold already, considering how long we've been kept waiting. There's no need to worry. It's not cold yet. Shannon, finish setting the table, quickly. I'm sorry, madam. Natsuhi's irritation was obvious by now. The ineptitude that delayed the tea, the clumsiness of the servant, everything pointed to the incompetence of Natsuhi's everyday leadership, making her lose face. As the person in charge of the Ushumiya head family's kitchen, allowing that clumsiness to be exposed, today of all days, was surely nothing less than total humiliation.
Lay off, Natsuhi-ne-san. Don't you think it's a little harsh to bully Shannon-chan when she's trying her best?
I'm not bullying anyone. What a nice aroma. May I ask what brand this is? I'm terribly sorry. I'll find out for you later. Kirie was trying to be nice, hoping to cut through the tense mood. However, Shannon had embarrassed herself instead, darkening Natsuhi's face and the room's mood. By this point, Eva was audibly giggling. What's this? Shannon-chan, don't you even know what you're pouring us? Come now, you mustn't serve something so suspicious to guests. We'll all need a silver spoon at the very least before we can drink this.
I'm sorry. I'll go get one immediately.
Shannon-chan, do you know what silver spoons are used for? They have to be silver. Do you know why?
No,
A teasing smile rose to Eva's face as she stared at Shannon setting the table. By itself, Eva's expression was sweet in an impish sort of way. However, the words being spun from her lips held the keenness of a razor within them. Shannon tried with all her might to avoid Eva's continuing gaze. Realizing that Shannon was hard-pressed for an answer, Rosa gave some timely help.
they say that if silver is touched by poison, it darkens. I guess you've learned something today, Shannon-chan.
They were acting as though this tea needed to be tested for poison before it could be drunk. In Natsu's eyes, this was an insult both to the tea and to herself for serving it. Rudolph laughed flippantly and patted Eva's shoulder. Silver cutlery wouldn't do any good for you, Aniki. Just one lick of your poisonous tongue and even a silver plate would turn pitch black. Since I get to hear that poison tongue every day, I must be poison-proof myself by now. Eva, I don't mind when you use it on me, but you'd better hold back when talking to people who haven't built up a resistance.
My, how cruel. All I did was teach Shannon-chan a bit about tea, didn't I?
Everyone followed the lead set by Hideyoshi's horse laugh and chuckled, though not easily. Only Natsuhi didn't join in, but for the time being, the conversation inside the parlor could now be mistaken for a lively and friendly chat. As Shannon finally finished setting the tea table and tried to leave, Hideya apologized to her in a low voice for not being able to help. Shannon gave a light bow and made a hasty retreat. Shannon cast her eye downwards as she pushed the cart down the corridor. Anyone seeing the pitiful way she looked might easily conclude that she had been bullied in some way. Don't be sad. You didn't do anything wrong, Nia-san.
You were watching.
That is my role. Madame and Eva-sama can go to hell. But the worst coward is that guy. Hanon glared hatefully in the opposite direction of the parlor. The preparations for the tea had been delayed by some trifling problems in the kitchen. These problems were not Shannon's fault. In fact, it had been Goda's mistake. After all, there was no way a show-off like Goda would give up a flashy job like bringing in tea when the guests arrived. He had ended up wasting time preparing the tea once again. So when he realized he wouldn't be able to score any points for this job, he pushed the task of setting the table on Shannon, who happened to be passing by. You might call it a clever move on his part, but there could be no doubt that it was a cowardly one. Hello, Donald. Welcome to the stream. I hope you enjoy Umineko.
It's okay, Kanon-kun. Thanks. I'm not bothered by it at all.
Shannon's silence vividly expressed the distance between Shannon's words and how she actually felt.
Thank you. Even if you're the only one who understands, I feel a bit better.
You keep your feelings too bottled up, Nia-san. You should be less hard on yourself for once.
Yeah. Thanks.
Suddenly, they both felt someone's presence and whirled around. A middle-aged man stood there. It was Genji, the head servant. What are you doing there? Shannon, hurry back to the kitchen.
Yes. If you'll excuse me.
Shannon humbly obeyed and promptly made to push the cart and leave. However, Shannon appealed to Genji in silence. bearing something in his eyes that he could not express in words.
What is it? Did something happen?
Shannon didn't do anything wrong. It's even so, they... Stop it, Canon-kun. Please excuse me. I'll return to work immediately. Canon-kun, you should go back to your post too. Please.
If you say so, Nesan.
If that is all, then go.
Yes. If you'll excuse me. From the shadows in the hallway, an old woman wearing an apron watched over them. It was Kumasawa. Poor Shannon-san. Shannon-san. There's no reason for those two to be picked on. Still, Goda-san's dislike for them is an undeniable fact. Until Goda-san was taken in by the Ushiromiya head family, I swear he worked for a fabulous hotel somewhere. The manner of work he learned there was quite impressive, I believe. It's just that Goda-san is the newest servant here. Must have a lot of pride accumulated from his previous positions. Because Shannon-san and Canon-kun are his seniors here at the mansion, and yet are inexperienced and have gone through much less in life than he has. He picks on them at every chance he gets. And also, sad as it may be, they are disliked by Madame Natsuhi too. Of course, if we're talking about experience, Madame has been in this family much longer. And yet, this is one point where I cannot help but sympathize with the Madame as well. Truly, the Master is a man with many sins on his conscience. Why didn't he realize that such a trifling whim of his would give the Madame such an inferiority complex? Of course, on the inside, even the Madame is fully aware that those two don't deserve to be treated so harshly. However, the heart has reasons, but reason knows not. I feel so sorry for them. I can't do anything but watch over them from the shadows.
Fresh. Ah.
So we can keep going a little bit longer. I think I'll aim for about an hour of stream time, so like 20 more minutes-ish. Depending on how the scenes shake out. But I might not finish until another shattering or anything, because you never know how long how do you Kishi see this? I definitely like that we get that there's a lot of story, but it makes it hard to split up chapters and stuff. Anyway, just a moment. Alright, let's continue a little bit more. The four of us cousins were enjoying our stories, just shooting the breeze. Anyway, there were both girls and guys here. Plus, we had people over a wide spread of ages. Adult, high school, and elementary school. Even if we just talked about our own lives, the other three kept listening attentively.
I think I'm finally getting used to all this. Jessica and Maria have grown more than I could have imagined in the past 6 years. To be honest, I was feeling a bit uncomfortable. By talking like this, I guess that on the inside, nothing's really changed since back then. I agree. You haven't changed a bit, even after 6 years. Even though your body's gotten gigantic, you're still a kid inside. Me too. I'm a kid too. Well, even you aren't gonna be a kid forever, are you, Maria? I mean, you're gonna transform from a kid into a cute young lady, aren't you? And when that happens, that flat as board chest will reach Jessica's level, huh? When that happens, you gotta let me touch. No.
It's not a promise. Never mind.
No. I did not promise. Shut up, Butler.
No, Maria-chan. You can't make that kind of promise. That's bad, bad, bad.
Huh? I promise I'll let him touch him. I give him promises. Always keep him. Maria, you are an earnest, good girl. The guy you marry is gonna be really lucky. Hey, stop trying to change the subject by making it sound pretty. Maria, that promise never happened. Never. That promise is cancelled? As I thought, without Butler Kun and our little quartet, this group of cousins just didn't feel complete. These 6 years have been kind of lonely. And that's true, question mark. We didn't really goof off like this. Still, we did have some pretty constructive conversations, right? Stuff about preparing for a future, exam taking, finding jobs. Oh, I'm so sorry. Now that I'm back here, we just talk about stupid stuff and mess around. We're having more fun this year. That's true. I agree. This year's the most fun yet.
Maria's sincere words probably spoke for everyone present. George Aniki stroked Maria's head, and she giggled like a happy kitten. Pardon me. Your meal is ready. I don't know who's saying this. A timid... Oh, wait. Okay.
Pardon me, your meal is ready.
A timid knocking sound, and the equally timid voice of a young woman came through the door. Jessica answered brightly.
Sharon, come in! You remember Butler, right?
Jessica stood up from the bed and opened the door. There stood a servant girl, who must have been about our age.
It's been quite some time since we last met, Butler-sama. It's nice to see you after 6 years. It's me, Shannon.
Trembling a little as she noticed me, she bowed deeply.
Ah! Jessica had me surprised, but look at you, Shannon-chan! You've turned into a total beauty too, haven't you? You are too kind. Still, the food on this island must be really nutritional, huh? What are you eating and how are you training to get boobs that big? Guess I'll have to film and see what whether Jessica's are bigger, okay?
With both hands poised and saliva dribbling from my mouth, I closed in. For the sake of justice and my personal honor, I'd like to point out that I don't suffer from some strange disease that makes my lymph nodes itch until I scratch my neck open, and which can only be prevented by fondling breasts. This is just a Butler-style method of communication. If I slowly close in on her like this, odds are 8 or 9 out of 10 that I get slapped or clobbered, right? So I can use this Butler-sama original technique to spark a gag like that and break the ice. Butler, you're so stupid. Oh, well, it also means I really do get to touch them on that 1 in 10 chance though, right?
Like that'd ever happen.
At that point, my hands were less than a centimeter away from Shannon-chan's boobs, but the counter-strike had yet to come. She blushed and lowered her head in embarrassment when she realized what was going on. She just stood there with both hands politely joined in front of her, not even trying to resist or cover her breasts. Hey, I wasn't planning on this! But please, hit me right now, or I'm seriously gonna... Which is why I was glad that Jessica chose that time to drive her elbow into the back of my head. Oh! Thank you so much, Jessica!
Why the hell are you thanking me? Huh? Seriously, my bad, Shannon-chan. I almost got overwhelmed by your hypnotic jest. More importantly, anyone who gets that close has to be a molester. You've gotta fight back when people do that. But you are an important guest, Butler-sama.
Now look here, a pervert's a pervert whether he's a guest or not. A girl's chest has got an air defense identification range of about 10 centimeters or so. When someone trespasses within 2 centimeters, that's already an invasion of airspace, so you'd better scramble the jets immediately and get them an instant slap.
I couldn't do such a thing. Because we are, furniture.
Of course she didn't want her breast touched, but if a guest so desired, she was prepared to sacrifice herself to suit their wants. A girl like this needs some urgent protection.
To think such devoted girls still existed in this area is enough to make a man dizzy. But no! No! I'm coming at you with a averted face again. Knock me down! Look out! Pervert on the loose! This gag can't end until you deliver the punchline, so slap me! Please! Hit me!
I cannot fulfill your request because I'm furniture. But if it were an order, I'd obey. Because that is my duty.
Then I'll make it an order. The next time Butler-kun tries to touch your breast, counterattack with a slap. Got it?
Yes. As you wish. From now on, that's what I'll do. Please understand, Butler-sama.
Shannon-chan announced this while bowing elegantly to me. Her expression was radiant. I gave her a thumbs up to show her I was fine with that.
6 years ago, you might have been mistaken for a servant's daughter who lent a hand to your parents' work. But now you're a full-fledged adult servant. How long have you been working here?
Well, I've had the pleasure of serving this household for about 10 years.
She's Shannon. The kanji for her name are read as Shannon. Now here's another name that's far from typical for a Japanese person. Back in the day, I was a kid myself, so I accepted her name without paying it much attention. Thinking about it now though, her name's pretty unusual, even though she's not a member of the Ushiromiya family. Maybe it's like a servant's professional name or something. If so, that might explain why her name's so similar to Kanon-kun, the kid I met earlier in the Rose Garden. She's a long-term servant who served here since she was 6 years old. Her appearance had changed so much that I couldn't match her to the person of my memories, but we both knew each other 6 years ago. That shy part of her had always been there, but she did seem to have developed the allure that you'd expect of a girl her age. Especially in her breasts. Yes. That kid we met earlier, Kanon-kun, is her little brother.
He's not exactly my little brother. Still, he loves me like a big sister. He didn't cause you any trouble, did he?
He's the same as always. If only he were just a bit more sociable.
I apologize if he's caused you any trouble.
Nah, he didn't cause any trouble at all. As a fellow man, I understand how moody you can get at that age. It's no surprise he's unsociable.
I get called that all the time too. I get called unsociable, just like Kanon. Ugh. You weren't unsociable at all, Maria-sama. What did it be like him?
You said the meal was ready, right?
Yes. I'm sorry. Your meal has been fully prepared, so please allow me to guide you all to the mansion.
Shannon bowed again formally and returned to her duty mode. We realized that if we made her stick around for any more light conversation, it would actually make it harder for her to do her job. We got up off our butts to avoid interfering with her work any further. Just a moment again. I love winter, but sure makes nose runny.
So, shall we go to the mansion? Everyone's probably hungry, right? Yeah. I'm really looking forward to Goda-san's food. That guy was apparently a chef at this famous hotel, so he's super good at cooking. Oh! I can't wait! Let's go, Maria!
We're gonna stuff ourselves like pigs!
Oh! Stuff ourselves like pigs!
No, no. You can't take everything Butler-kun says seriously, okay? Because he's always just joking around. Okay, let's go. Under Shannon-chan's guidance, we headed towards the mansion. Met once again by the magnificent rose garden, we continued onward, as the intimidating mansion of the Ushinomiya head family came into view. It had apparently been built shortly after the war. You could feel the dignity of almost a half-century hanging about it. The building was gorgeous on the surface, but also it was, equipment such as its AC and heating were apparently quite frail. According to Jessica, midwinter was especially tough, what with all the drafts. Haven't these people ever heard of a kotatsu? Man, I wish we had kotatsu here. Technically, I guess I could make one with my electric blanket and cable.
It's not the same.
As we entered the entrance hall, an aged servant greeted us. Now him I remembered. Genji-san, who had been working here longer than anyone, filled the role of head servant. Butler-sama, it has been quite some time since we last met. As our eyes met, he greeted me with a calm, composed voice. His bow wasn't as graceful or refined as Goda's, but despite its simplicity, it communicated his feelings very well.
Genji-san, it really has been a while. You look well.
Thank you, I have been quite well. And Butler-sama, you have become a splendid young man. You are beginning to resemble the master in his youth.
Look like grandfather? I guess that means grandfather was pretty popular with the ladies when he was young.
From here on, I shall take Shannon's place and accompany you. Please, come this way. Shannon-chan bowed deeply and watched us leave. After that, we headed towards the dining room under Genji-san's guidance. Genji-san, just like Kumasawa-san, stood in stark contrast to us young people who had grown beyond recognition over the last 6 years. His appearance was exactly the same as in my memories from 6 years ago. It was as though time had stopped since the last time we met. Genji-san was an extremely quiet and diligent person. He was basically grandfather's close aide or caregiver. And you might even call him grandfather's companion of many years. In fact, it seems he was by grandfather's side even more often than my late grandmother was. According to Jessica, grandfather trusted him more than any of his blood relatives. But I wonder how long he served. I never got the details, but I heard something about him being here since the very beginning, when this mansion was first constructed. Which would mean that he's dedicated half his life to serving here. It's easy to see why he's so trusted. As we passed through a massive hall that extended up into the second story of the mansion, with no separating floor, I spotted something that hadn't existed in my memory of 6 years ago. Was an awfully big portrait hanging right in front of the stairs that rose to the second floor.
Without thinking, I stopped walking, captivated by it. Since I'd stopped so fast, Maria, who was following behind me, ran into my back.
Eh? Ah, sorry. Hey, Jessica, has that picture always been there?
I pointed at the big, prominently displayed portrait in the hall. Everyone else stopped too.
Oh, right. When you last came here, that hadn't been hung yet, had it? When was it again?
Well, if my memory doesn't fail me, it was put on display sometime around the year before last. You are correct, sir. In April of the year before last, the master put it on display there, having previously ordered a painter to create it.
Grandfather did that? So he paid to have it painted just for him, huh?
The portrait suited this western mansion, and that woman in the elegant dress gave off a sense of refinement. I couldn't have guessed her age, but her sharp eyes and the strong will she seemed to possess made her look youthful. She seemed somehow different from the composed, middle-aged women you often see in famous pictures. If she'd had normal black hair, I might have assumed it was a portrait of my long-deceased grandmother in her prime. However, she had beautiful blonde hair and didn't look Japanese at all.
So, just who is this lady?
Maria answered that simple question enthusiastically, as though proud she knew the answer.
I know. It's Beatrice.
What?
Bayonetta?
Now then, should I say Beatrice or Beatrice? Beatrice. Let's go with Beatrice.
Beatrice. She's a witch. Didn't you ever hear stories about her long ago? A witch? You mean the witch of this island?
I think I already said this, but Rokkenjima is a small island, only 10 kilometers in circumference. However, that's actually pretty massive considering that only the Oshiromiya family lives here. So only the harbor and the areas around the mansion were set up to be lived in. Beyond that, the island remained as untouched as when it was uninhabited. The vast and empty forest had absolutely no lights, phones, or people passing through. To understand how dangerous that is, you need to forget your common sense as a city dweller. After all, if you happen to fall down a hole in the depths of the forest and sprain your ankle, no one would come save you, no matter how much you cried or screamed. Then, once the sun went down, the forest would be wrapped in complete darkness, since there were no streetlights. And since there were no signs, it would be easy to get lost and confused, losing your sense of direction inside that dark forest. Nowadays, most people see a forest as a peaceful place. But to the people of bygone eras, before the light of civilization drove out the night, forests were as geographically separated from civilization as the sea. They were oceans above the ground. Fishermen who go out into the ocean are putting their lives at risk, despite their technical knowledge. In the same way, hunters who go out to the forest are in danger, despite having specialized knowledge of their own. If children were to go play in such a dangerous forest, something terrible might happen. Someone's parents must have thought so. Maybe grandmother first said it, or maybe it was grandfather himself. Or perhaps the story's been passed down on this island since ancient times. There's a terrible witch in the forest, so you must not go in. At some point, this ghost story of Rokkenjima was born. Rokkenjima. This is the legend of Rokkenjima's witch. That's why, when we talk about a witch on this island, were referring to the master of that vast and savage forest. Come to think of it, when I stayed at this mansion as a little kid, during those eerie nights when the wind and rain poured on the windows, I remember being terrified by a story of the forest witch who roamed around searching for human sacrifices. So, Beatrice, huh? When Aniki mentioned it, I searched my memory and was sure I recalled hearing a name like that when I was little.
I see. Still, I totally forgot that the witch in that legend had an elegant name like Beatrice.
So, did grandfather go out of his way to have a portrait made just because we grandchildren didn't believe the story?
She's the witch from Grandfather's Delusions. Ever since he had this picture hanged, he's been having a harder and harder time telling the difference between truth and fantasy. Plus, she's just a witch that exists in Grandfather's mind. But to him, she's a being that exists on this island. Exists. He says he had the painting made because the rest of us would be incapable of understanding otherwise. The whole thing's creepy as hell.
Milady, this portrait is precious to the master. I beg of you, do not say such things in front of him.
I know. Even if you didn't tell me, I'd never do something like that.
Jessica glanced at the portrait with an irritated gaze before turning away. Oh my god. Yeah, it's soon time to end this stream. Let's go. We're making everyone wait in the dining room.
I'm hungry.
Only a small portion of this island was controlled by the Ushirimiya family. All of the lawless remainder was the domain of the witch, Beatrice. You might even call her the true ruler of Rokkenjima. I felt a faint revival of that unsettling sense of misfortune, which I'd felt when I learned of the tutelary god's shrine being struck by lightning. And I remembered that Kumasawa-san tried to tell an ominous story about Rokkenjima before Jessica stopped her. I don't know what she was planning to tell us about this island, but I do know one thing. It isn't the Ushirimiya family that rules Rokkenjima. It's the witch, Beatrice. That's right. After all, this is the witch's island.
Halfway! We're slow!
When I looked around, everyone else was already heading towards the dining room. I hurriedly chased after them. And I think this is where we... Yeah. This is where we stop for today. Man. The part with the portrait is where I would have liked to end the first stream, but considering that it took me an hour to get here today, I'm glad that I stopped when I did last time. I would not have had it in me to stream one more hour. But yeah, things are starting to slowly unwind, and we'll find out what happens next time. Hope you all have a nice weekend. Good night.